This is 15-year-old Nate Anderson, and on September 15, 2010, his life was shattered when he found his 19-year-old sister, Amanda Anderson, murdered in their home. He was heartbroken and overwhelmed with grief as he called 911 to report her death.
I was doing homework and I went out with the woods for a quick jog like I do sometimes. When I came back, the door was kicked open.
And when you said the door was kicked in, the front door or the back door?
Our garage door. It's where pretty much everyone goes in.
And you found her in her room?
Yes.
And she has a bullet hole?
Yes. There was not just one. I think there was a couple in her head.
Detectives rushed to the scene and found the body of Amanda Anderson with gunshot wounds to the head.
Single victim, gunshot wound. 19-year-old female, name of Amanda Anderson.
Her 15-year-old brother, Nate, reported that he had been home with his sister that afternoon. He was working on his homework but had trouble solving a problem, so he decided to go for a jog. When he returned, he noticed the back door of the house had been kicked in. Concerned, he went inside and found his sister lying on the floor in her bedroom. Terrified by the scene, Nate first called his father, then dialed 911 to report the murder. He was extremely emotional, crying and sobbing, clearly in shock. Amanda Anderson was a freshman at Tyler Junior College and worked part-time with her mother at a local hospital.
She was working and just finding her way, and I think that's what most of us felt was how awful. Here's somebody who was just starting out her life and suddenly she was gone.
She was young, beautiful, and came from a Christian family. The question on everyone's mind was, who would kill her?
It's a sad situation felt by many in East Texas. Her family is now relying on their faith and prayers to get them through.
The murder of Amanda Anderson attracted a lot of attention, leaving the community in disbelief and searching for answers. Detectives gathered all the evidence from the house, carefully collecting anything that might help solve the case. They even took clothes from Amanda, her brother, and other family members.
One of the things all investigators do is we will collect clothing of the person that is in immediate proximity to the victim. And that was done with her brother because he was the one that found her.
The detectives also asked Amanda's father to hand over all the guns he had in the house. He had nearly a dozen, as he enjoyed hunting and target shooting. Despite this thorough approach, the detectives had no reason to suspect any family members. They turned their attention to the neighbors, hoping someone had noticed something unusual that day.
Hi, sir. I'm Detective Pam Dunklin. Have you seen any suspicious cars along the street?
Well, I haven't noticed any
Okay.
gangs around there, and
Thank you. Have a good one.
However, nobody had seen anything suspicious. A day of investigation passed, but the investigators found themselves with no witnesses, no clues, and no suspects to work with. The question remained, why would anyone want Amanda dead?
I've never worked on a case like this. 42 years in this business, never worked one like this.
On day 2 of the investigation, detectives pinned their hopes on the medical examiner's office, hoping the body might reveal something the crime scene could not.
Well, I can confirm the number of shots, 4 times, all to the head. Can't tell what order they came, but all but one of them would have been enough to end her life.
Amanda had been shot with a small caliber gun, 2 shots to the top of the head, 1 to the right side and 1 in the forehead. The medical examiner provided some crucial answers. Amanda had been shot with a .22 caliber gun from a distance of 3 or more feet. An interesting detail was that the wounds were very close to each other, suggesting she wasn't moving or running when the shooter entered her room.
If someone walked in the room that you didn't know, what is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to jump up for sure, or you're going to throw your computer at them for sure.
So she knew her killer.
Who on Amanda's trusted circle wanted her dead? A week after Amanda's murder, detectives found themselves needing to start over, and that meant taking a hard look at the first piece of evidence, the 911 call from Nate.
911, what's your emergency?
When Nate spoke with the detectives, he mentioned that he never entered the room after seeing his sister lying on the floor. But when they listened to the call with the dispatcher, something didn't match.
And you found her in her room?
Yes.
And she has a bullet hole?
Yes. There was not just one. I think there was a couple in her head.
Go back and listen to that 911 call and go, oh, wait a minute. Well, this isn't making sense.
There was not just one. I think there was a couple in her head.
Nathan told the dispatcher that he didn't enter the bedroom. He only opened the door and saw his sister lying there.
You may think she has been shot, but you certainly wouldn't know how many times. It certainly wasn't clear when detectives arrived.
Based on these inconsistencies, the detectives decided to bring Nathan in for questioning.
September the 15th. Can you tell me what you did that day? Just
all day?
Yes.
Well, I woke up, I got dressed for school, we went to school. And after that, we usually spend about 2 hours after school because I go home with my aunt, who's my teacher. So after that, we went to grocers, and we picked up a few groceries for them. Then I came home and was doing my homework for most of the day. And about, I don't know what time it was, but I didn't really look at my watch. I didn't have it on or with the time, but after a while, I was having trouble finding it. I just took the dog and went out for a jog through my trails out of my house. And I went out, my aunt lives, I don't know how far I went, but I was pretty far from the house. And I started jogging back. And when I got back, the door was kicked in. Then I went straight for my room. And Amanda's door was not shut, but like pulled to where you had to push it open, that's all. I went in my room, then I went and pushed her door open, and she was on the floor with some blood on her bed and on her carpet. I didn't pay attention that much because I went into a panic, and I was scared, so I went straight out of the room. I shut the door, and I went straight for her nearest phone or something, and called my dad. He was out to eat or something.
Okay. Well, let me back up here for a second.
The detective stopped Nate and asked if he had seen or heard anything, and whether he was aware of a phone call between his sister and their dad.
I knew that he wanted her to go pick up my mom at the hospital because we only had 2 cars, so she was going to go.
Okay. Were you there when Amanda was talking to?
I was pretty much leaving the door. So she was talking to him.
Okay. Do you have an idea of how long you went out for a jog? How long you were gone?
10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. So you saw the door kicked in, you said?
Yes.
Did you walk through that door?
Yes, sir.
And you went to your bedroom, you said?
I went and opened my room, looked around, and then I went to Amanda's.
Okay. And so did you go into your sister's room, or?
I opened the door and kind of stood in the doorway and just...
Okay. Did you actually go in there?
I didn't walk in near her. I kind of stayed at the doorway, just to look around and shoot. Then.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't go in and lean over her, shake her, move her, roll over, anything like that?
Sure.
So you got out and do you remember where you went when you called your dad?
I went to the phone that was in the kitchen. We charged the charger.
So the house phone, it wasn't
yes, sir.
On your cell. Do you own a cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
I don't have it now. My wallet, watch, and my cell phone is in my room.
Okay. What kind of phone is it?
It's iPhone.
Oh.
Until now, Nate has told the story exactly as to the dispatcher. But the detectives know there is more about this story and trying to exploit any inconsistencies in his account.
So, do you remember what time you got home from school?
Well, we get off school at 1 o'clock, and we maybe 2:30 when I got home, around there. Yes.
Well, can you tell me what you did after you got home?
I really made myself lunch, which I just made some nachos, and just got through my homework. Okay. Because we have such short days, I bring home kind of a lot of homework.
Okay. So you made lunch and did what? I'm sorry.
Just began my homework.
Okay. Where do you normally do your homework?
On my desk.
Who do you think would want to hurt your sister?
I can't think of anyone who would want to hurt me. I don't know anyone would not like her. She was really nice.
We're trying to get any idea who would do this to him. What do you think we ought to do to him when we catch him?
Just put him in jail. I don't really know.
Nate seems very calm and doesn't show any emotion about his sister's murder, but the detectives will try every method to get more information from him.
Is there anything you want to tell me about that might be able to help me?
I wouldn't know anyone who. All I can think of is that I know that some people have been robbing around here, around our neighborhood, and one guy, during the middle of the summer, pretty much, came to our house and said in his wood he's been finding joints, bomb pipes, and syringes, that someone's been doing drugs back there, all kinds of stuff. And we've had some spray painting around the neighborhood.
Have you seen anyone over the past few weeks that came around the house and was being nosy, being, I lost my dog, or my car ran out of gas, or...
We've had some lost dog people just come around, like, give us a flyer or something, or just ask if you've seen a dog.
The detective asks Nate if he knows how his sister was killed. On the phone with the dispatcher, Nate claimed she had been shot 4 to 5 times, but during the interview, his story changes. This inconsistency makes him look suspicious.
Do you know what happened to your sister? I mean, do you know how she was killed?
She was shot.
Do you remember what you told your dad when you called him? You remember what you told him?
I remember I was screaming and crying and telling him that she was... Well, I could kind of tell that she had been shot. There was blood on her face. And we have gone shooting with my dad. We hunt and stuff, so I could kind of smell a little bit of what it smells like after you shoot a gun.
Gunpowder. So you couldn't really tell she was shot once you stepped in the room?
I was just a panic.
Nate is clever, and this time he didn't mention how many times his sister was shot. Instead, he deflected by saying he was in a panic and only knew she'd been shot because of the blood and the smell of gunpowder.
I could kind of gather that. I jumped to a conclusion really because she had blood on her face and I could smell that a little bit. And I shut the room running for the phone.
So you called your dad, and then what happened after that, once you called your dad?
It was literally maybe a minute or two what it felt like after that, and the Smith County Sheriff's Department called me and was talking to me and waiting for the officer to come by. And after that, I went outside and just kind of fell, and then he took me to his car, and he started showing up.
You remember what phone you were on when you came out?
I was on the house phone. I think I left it on our sidewalk.
And so you came out and talked to the deputy. Remember what the deputy did with you?
He set me in the car and asked me if there was anyone else in the house. And I remember he got the tape, orange, yellow tape.
Oh, okay.
And he went in the house. Then Ryan, the guy from our church, came and started talking to me that he went with my grandparents. More cops started showing up and everything.
What do you like to hunt for?
Whitetail.
Whitetail.
Nate often went hunting with his father, where he developed impressive shooting skills. He even had a shooting range set up behind his house where he practiced regularly.
You like target practice on occasion?
More with guns. I have a bow, but I'm really more of gun.
Oh, okay. I saw that target out there in the back, the yellow target. Yeah, bow. I didn't see it. Where was it?
It's in our back closet where all the shelves are. It's on the very top, on top of my dad's in cases.
The detective asked Nate once again why he said his sister had been shot multiple times during the phone call with the dispatcher.
What made you think that your sister was shot several times?
I could see blood on her face and on the carpet and stuff, and I could get a little bit of the smell of what the gunpowder smells like after it's been fired in the room.
And I hate to kind of go into this much detail, but it's kind of relevant. Other than the blood that you talked about on her face, was there something else? Because someone can get beat up bad, or someone, other things happen to them that cause blood to get on their face.
I didn't seem to have her nose or like her mouth like she had been punched or hit by something.
Okay.
It was kind of on her head and stuff. But I really just jumped to a conclusion because I could smell that stuff and make sure it's blood on her head and on her bed floor.
So it was just more or less you're saying just a conclusion that you had to. You don't remember the same 3 or 4 times? And I know sometimes brothers and sisters tell things to each other that you don't tell your parents. And I'm not trying to get you in trouble with your parents or anything, but kind of going back to your sister dating anybody or anything. I know sometimes parents don't approve, and not all parents get 2 kids, and I understand that. Is there anybody that Amanda told you, don't tell mom and dad that I've been talking to this guy, or I met a new guy at school, or me and this girl had a falling out, we don't like each other, she's kind of a violent person, or anything like that?
No.
Nate's calm and emotionless behavior during the interrogation tells a different story. Even though he was close to his sister, one would expect him to demand severe punishment for the person responsible. However, when the detectives repeat their questions, Nate's lack of emotion and monotone responses leave everyone surprised.
I asked you this before, Nate, I want to ask you again. What do you think law enforcement should do to the individual that hurt your sister?
I don't know, he's just put him in jail for, I don't really know. No, I wouldn't want, like, jail or anything, no. Just jail, I guess.
Do you understand how the criminal justice works, criminal justice system works? Well, if another human being takes life of another human being, sometimes they go to jail for a while. Sometimes, they go for jail the rest of their life. Sometimes it depends on the case, I guess, on what actually happened. Sometimes we just human beings make mistakes. Young ones, old ones, and everybody else in between, we make mistakes. If this person made a mistake, that he didn't really want to take your sister's life, do you think they should seek justice? Do you think we should do something with it, even though it was a mistake? It's just an accident.
If they saw her, then they had the choice to not worry about it, and they chose to.
You think they should go to jail?
The detectives revisited the house, searching for inconsistencies in Nate's story. The back door, which Nate claimed had been kicked in, wasn't damaged at all.
Amanda's brother said that the back door had been kicked in. There were a few scuff marks, like an attempt to kick, but it really wasn't kicked in.
During another thorough search of the house, detectives found something that made the impossible seem possible.
Nate Anderson's notebook contained his homework and some comments and things from school. We found some comments in the notebook, not necessarily related to his sister being killed, but there were some dark things in that notebook that raised red flags with us.
The investigators decided to re-examine all the weapons collected from the Anderson household. During this process, the detectives made a baffling discovery that shifted the case in a new direction.
The tool mark expert eliminated all the guns in that house with the exception of the .22 caliber Ruger semi-automatic handgun. We couldn't get a 100% matchup on the other side of the coin. He could not exclude that gun. He said that he gave Nathan a Mark IV .22 caliber semi-automatic handgun. And he told me that Nathan had been out in the backyard shooting that gun.
But despite these findings, the team was hesitant to move forward against 15-year-old Nate without concrete proof, fearing it could ruin their case.
Brother was a child and angelic looking, and none of us could imagine that he could do something like that.
After a 2-week-long investigation, getting justice for Amanda Anderson came down to forensics. Everything hinged on whether the forensic team could link her brother to the murder.
When we first observed his clothes, they were all unremarkable when examined visually. There wasn't any visible blood on his clothes.
Although the lab had tested Nate's shirt once for blood, they hadn't checked it for high-velocity spatter, the kind of microscopic specks that are difficult to detect but could prove crucial.
It became very obvious from the reaction from these chemicals that there was blood on the clothing. There's only one way to get high-velocity blood spatter on yourself. Either you're standing by the shooter or you are the shooter. When I saw the blood stains, there was no doubt in my mind who that blood belonged to.
We look at each other and go, wow.
Detectives are now certain that Nathan killed his sister. It was incredibly difficult for the Anderson family to come to terms with the shock of losing both of their children, one to death, the other to arrest. The investigators, after gathering what they could, were prepared to take Nate into custody. On November 10th, 2010, 2 months after Amanda's death, the police arrested Nate Anderson. At the time of his arrest, Nate was at church, which made the situation even more shocking for the community. Nate's parents were adamant that their son couldn't have committed the crime. They knew how much he had always loved his sister. The family was horrified, furious even, and for months they refused to believe Nate could have been responsible for Amanda's death. The church community shared this disbelief, rallying behind Nate, certain of his innocence. However, their belief was shattered when Nate confessed to a psychologist hired by the defense. He admitted to killing his sister, a revelation that stunned everyone who knew him. Despite being a minor, Nate was kept in solitary confinement for 9 months. His defense attorney requested that he be placed in juvenile detention, but the judge disagreed, sentencing him instead to serve time in an adult prison. On February 2, 2012, in a Texas courtroom, 16-year-old Nate Anderson was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to 20 years in prison, with eligibility for parole after serving 10 years. Nate and Amanda had appeared to share a sweet and loving bond that seemed unbreakable, but beneath the surface, there were hidden grudges and emotions that no one had understood. Cases like this remind us of the complexities of the human mind and how even the most beautiful relationships can turn bitter. In a statement after the trial, Nate's father said, "Nate confessed to me that he had killed his sister. He asked for my forgiveness and I have forgiven him.